I'd like to call the August 15th meeting of the Board of Embalmers and Funeral Directors to order. And at this time, I'll ask the Executive Director to call the roll.
Mr. Dotson.
Here.
Mr. Chandler.
Here.
Ms. Pugh.
Here.
Mr. Wapner.
Here.
Mr. Caniff.
Here.
Mr. Reddick.
Here. Thank you. Stand and have the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, I would like to recognize the apprentices that are with us today. One by one, I'll ask you to stand and pronounce your name. For those of you that have been to other board meetings, our task list has changed recently, and now all dual licensee apprentices after February 1, 2016, and all two-year apprentices after February 1, 2015, are considered on the new task list. And the only addition, there were some takeaways on that, but the only addition was that they attend one state board meeting before their licensure. So, with that being said, I would ask the apprentices, I don't care who wants to be first. I know Miss Johnson back, or Jones, two Miss Jones in the back.
Yeah.
Larissa Downs, Cincinnati, Ohio, William Funeral.
Welcome,
Amber Jones.
welcome,
Kyle Kite, Cleveland, Ohio.
welcome,
Terrence Hayning, Funeral Home, Fostoria, Ohio.
welcome,
Becky Foster, Toronto, Ohio, Foster Funeral.
welcome. Glad you could all be here, get this part done, and see how your board operates. Next agenda item would be the Executive Director's Report. I'll call on our Interim Executive Director, Mr. Eric Griffin.
Thank you. I'd like to start by thanking President Reddick and the rest of the board for this opportunity to serve the Ohio Board of Embalmers and Funeral Directors. In my limited time, I've learned a lot about the funeral industry in the last couple of weeks. A couple of items that I'd like to report on that we've addressed over the last 2 weeks would be the LSC fiscal year 2016 questionnaire that was received prior to my arrival. However, we completed it with staff assistance and responded to the Legislative Commission on the licensing questionnaire. Also included in there is the 2015 questionnaire for comparison. Second on my list to report out is the public records request. And thus far for fiscal year 2017, we've had a total of 9 requests. With the assistance of AAG Bachrader, we've responded to 2 of those requests. 7 requests are still pending and legal. Additionally, we've set up a system to monitor and track all of our public records requests with the assistance of staff. Additionally, on DSA fleet management, upon reviewing our allocation of fleet vehicles, had realized that we had acquired one in April that we did not feel was necessary and or to be used as a pooled vehicle, so that vehicle was returned to DAS. Additionally, we also received notification for our fiscal year 2018-2019 notification for budget. It's the start of our budget and gives you guidance from DAS, or gives us guidance on budget language and anything that we need to project forward for 2018-2019. So we will be starting that process for the budget process. The last item that I'd like to bring before the board is the discussion for a social media platform. Obviously, social media is an excellent way to communicate with our stakeholders. We had multiple avenues of it. For simplistic purposes, we are just down to the website only, and would like some guidance from the board on the utilization of Facebook and YouTube. In the past, the board has had both of these options. However, for consistency purposes and maintaining, I would suggest having one singular area where you post all of your content. So sort of looking for some direction from the board.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Is there any comments or questions from the board members? And then,
The Facebook page, there was some discussion about having that only for meeting notices.
You could do that for meeting notices, but then you have to maintain both sites. We could still do that. It's completely up to the board. That's why I was looking for.
So if it was not on Facebook, it would just be on the board site.
Correct.
and just for clarification for the board, that the previous director had the YouTube site in her own name, and we were not able to maintain that. So there was no way we could keep that without doing something of our own. So that is not possible right now. The Facebook site, though,
We do have access.
we do have access to.
Mr. Chairman, did I hear you correctly? The previous executive director had the YouTube for the funeral home in her own personal?
For the funeral board, yes. She had it tied to her own email account. And there again, we could do nothing about that, where our hands are tied.
I don't know if they changed our website. I had a hard time just Googling it, trying to get it to come up. I couldn't find, to even get into Google Docs, it wouldn't, I just tried Googling Ohio Board of Embalmers and Funeral Directors for a login, but I had a hard time. I'd actually type in funeral.ohio.gov. I don't know if the state changed something with the website recently or.
Mr. Chairman, was the previous board president aware of this?
That would be Mr. Washko, I have no idea.
Mr. Boyer.
Or Mr. Boyer, I don't know. I have no idea.
Are we looking at doing something for the state website though? Because like Brian said, it's difficult to find. If you just Google Ohio Board of Embalmers, you don't get taken to a homepage. Most of what comes up are funeral related articles.
My preference, and I'm trying to be a good chair and not interject, but my preference would be to look at a different website, like some of the other boards and commissions do, that is a bit more interactive, that comes right up. I know pharmacy has one. I've looked at some others. When we bring a director on board, I personally, that's something I would like to see.
I would think if you
Board Docs is fine. It's a nice
Well,
mechanism.
we could have a landing page that's a regular website that goes to board docs
Absolutely.
for information.
And if we had that, we wouldn't need Facebook or YouTube. We would just on our website.
So do you want to take any, entertain any motions now, or do you want to table this for a month and find out what we are doing? I mean, there's no rush on any of this, in my opinion.
I'm okay with that.
You need a motion to?
I move we table.
Moved by Mr. Dotson to
I'll
table.
second Mr. Dotson's motion.
Seconded by Mr. Taniff. Any further discussion from
Would
the
the
board?
motion be include a certain time, to take it off the table and bring it back up? Or it's permanent table?
Next month?
Yes.
Is that good with both of you?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a motion on the table to table until next month, and a second. No further discussion. If not, I'll ask Mr. Griffin to call the roll.
Mr. Dotson?
Yes.
Mr. Chandler?
Yes.
Ms. Pugh?
Yes.
Mr. Wapner?
Yes.
Mr. Tannen?
Yes.
Mr. Reddick?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we move the board into executive session to consider the employment of a public employee and matters required to be confidential by law pursuant to section 121.22 G1, 3, and 5 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Taniff. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Griffin, will you call the roll?
Mr. Dotson?
Yeah.
Mr. Chandler?
Yes.
Ms. Pugh?
Yes.
Mr. Wapner?
Yes.
Mr. Tannen?
Yes.
Mr. Reddick?
Yes. At this point in time, it is now 1:11 p.m. We're going into executive session. I would ask that all of you please remain seated. Stay in this room where it's comfortable. Look out the window, take a break, whatever. We'll try and move along as quickly as possible. We will go to another room. I would like to invite Eric into that session also.
And Mr. Chairman, we also want the Attorney General.
It's your call. I'm sure she's welcome.
Did you,
I recall the motion that you wanted, one of the purposes to consult with counsel,
Mm-hmm.
that I have to.
Okay.
Or the other, did you ask another attorney to be present?
I don't know if we have any other attorneys present, other than Mr. Gillen. I think he's